So we've done our 15, 20 minutes of stand up. And so we've just warmed up, toned up. And so now we sit down and I tell everyone to lengthen up, not on their side, they sit like this. And then I get them to lengthen up and we do a cat and a cow. So lengthen up, pull your belly button to the spine, roll your shoulders down your back pocket. So we've still got that nice and neutral spine. So we're going to do cat, flexion, dip your chin to your chest. Everyone want to tuck their tailbones under. Tuck your tailbone under, lengthen your arms over your knees. Pull that belly button to the spine. Shoulders in line with your hips. Lengthen those hands over your knees. So I'm really feeling a deep stretch across my shoulders and my lumbar spine. Then we sit tall. Then we sit taller, shoulders down your back pockets. Piece of string lifts your chest up to the ceiling. Little spinal extension, cow, gently looking up to the ceiling. So we do 3 cats, flexion, 3 cows, flexion, extension of the spine. Then you hold on to your thighs. Level 1, you can hold on to the side of the chairs. We go from left to right, takes pressure off your lumbar spine. Level 2, you hold on to your thighs. Lengthen up, pull that belly button to the spine, space between ears and shoulders. Always, always, always trying to stick your head on the ceiling. Lengthen left arm up to the ceiling. Lengthen next to your ears, nice and straight arm. We lengthen up and over. Now you feel like you're pushing into your left foot. Don't come off your left seat bone. So I'm really stretching my obliques there, my waist, but working my waist. So I'm going to relax and see if I can come deeper, but don't come off that seat bone. 50-pound note underneath your seat bone, then you lengthen back to center. We do the other 3 this side. So 3 on the right side, lengthen your arm next to your ear, neutral spine, and we lengthen up and over. Always being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Push into the right foot. See if you can come deeper by holding onto the chair. I can feel that takes pressure away from my lumbar spine. Level 2, we're stretching deep and we're using our obliques, our waist a bit more. Pull the belly button to the spine, touch the ceiling, lengthen, lengthen back to center. Do 3 that side. Then you lengthen your right leg forward, flexing up the toes. More you flex up your toes and your feet with a micro bend in the knees, always a micro bend in the elbows as well, the more you're going to stretch your calf muscles. And we hinge. Dead straight back, first of all. That having a dead straight back, hinging from the hips, we deepen the stretch in our hamstrings and my glutes. Always being pulled by a piece of string. Logo on my t-shirt. As I hinge forward, everyone can see my logo on my t-shirt. Cannot stretch my hamstrings, my glutes anymore. That's when I round and curl, running my hands down my extended leg. I have a little rest and see if I can come deeper. The aim is to touch the top of my head on my toes, relaxing the top of my body. Now really relax, heavy arms. Pull your belly button to the spine. Roll up. Use your core to roll you up. Hang like a rag doll. Pull your belly button to the spine. Squeeze the glutes. Then we sit up, shoulders down your back pockets, neutral spine. So we do 3 this side, and then we swap over. So you're lengthening out leg for leg, and I'm really thinking about flexing my toes and flexing my foot, micro bending the knees. And I'm hinging forward. Chest comes forward first, always being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head, flexing up those toes, deep stretching the hamstrings and the glutes, flat back. So I'm hinging from the hips, but still being pulled by a piece of string. The more I hinge from my hips, the more I stretch my hamstrings and my glutes. Now I cannot hinge anymore and stretch anymore. Then I run my hands down my extended leg, being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Aim to get my head on my toes there. Now I'm totally relaxing. I'm hanging like a rag doll, heavy arms, pulling my belly button to the spine, squeezing my glutes and using my core to roll me up. Heavy arms, hang like a rag doll, then I really feel it in the core. 3 that side. Then I sit up nice and tall and we're going to stretch the hip flexors. I think you said you're going to do another exercise, a stand-up hip flexor stretch. Right knee stacked over right ankle. Now, over time, some of them have lengthened their leg behind them, lengthen their left leg behind. But then lots of them just lean forward like that. In order to sit nice and tall, neutral spine, shoulders down the back pockets, they will have to have a nice big bend because I want them all to be sat upright, shoulders down the back pockets. But feet running in the same direction, that means they've got square hips. So over time, they're going to do that, pushing into the back heel. I will say they can tuck their toes under or rest on the top of their foot, whatever feels more comfortable. Most of them are wearing trainers. Then our left arm up to the ceiling, up to my shoulder, up to my ear, and I lengthen up and over. But everyone's tucking their tailbone under, scooping their pelvis, lengthen up and over. Have a little rest. So again, I'm always being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of my head. In my I can feel it in my hip flexors, my quads, which are my thighs, and lengthen back to center. Over time, they'll be extending their legs. Feet running in the same direction, so you've got square hips. And then you do the other side, and you do 3 on this side. So push into the back heel, tuck the tailbone under. Everyone sit up straight. Pull your belly button to the spine and lengthen up and over. So I'm being pulled by a piece of string. I'm going to see if I can just flex a little bit more there. But as I will say, some of them will have a nice big bend to their knee. The other day, some of the clients said they didn't like this exercise, so you suggested something else. And back to center. You're going to face your bands. I watched lots of people come awkwardly to the side. You're going to hurt your back if you do that. So you face your pieces of equipment, then you pick up your piece of equipment, whether it's your band or your ball. Put your band in front of you, knees hip width apart, and we're going to relax, completely relax, switching off all the muscles. So I can feel I'm releasing my lumbar spine. Relax your head and neck as you gently lengthen your arms to the back legs of the chair. But really try to relax and switch off all the muscles. Now I'm going to hang like a rag doll. Either hold onto your thighs to roll you up, heavy arms, or just use your core. Take the band with you as you roll up. So I'm squeezing my glutes, pulling my belly button to the spine, and I can feel my core is rolling me up. Some of my clients like to hold on to their thighs. And back to center. I was meant to mention as well, my clients really like to be sitting. They would like to be everything explained. That's what they like. So we've got the band. We're doing 2 open books, 2 bow and arrows. Have the band as slack as tight as you want. Arms are front, palm to palm, shoulder width apart. Now, if the band's really tight and I can see their shoulders are hunching, tell them to slacken off the band so their shoulders are down their back pockets, and some of them need to lower their hands a bit. Space between the ears and shoulders. I'm sitting up tall, pulling my belly button to the spine, always gluing my head to the ceiling, and I lengthen left arm longer than right, open book. Keep that right arm lengthened out in front. So I don't think I can open any wider, so I'm going to sit a bit taller, see if I can open my arm a little bit wider, pulling my belly button to the spine and back to center. Now we do 2 of those. Then either have a rest, roll your shoulders, or sometimes I go straight into bow and arrow. Extend those arms, prayer those hands. My left hand is going to come across, extended right arm, tight across my chest. Keep your hand on your chest as your elbow comes back, really opening up the shoulder joint there. As I lengthen my arm behind me to a point that's good for me, my head follows if you can, and then lengthen back to center. And you do 2 of those. Then you have a rest, gluing your knees and ankles together. Right hand's on the outside of your left thigh. Chalkboard on the left side. Piece of chalk in your left hand. You're sitting tall and you're drawing big chalk circles. I want everyone to push into their thigh. The more they push into their thigh, the more they rotate their spine. And that means bigger spinal more of a rotation of the spine. You can draw bigger chalk circles. Now, I will say once your arm lengthens behind you, your final circle, you're going to keep your arm there. I'm sitting taller, pushing into the thigh, pulling my belly button to the spine and back to center, knees hip width apart. Neutral spine, sitting up, trying to pull my belly button to the spine. So we do the other side. So we do 2 open books, 2 bow and arrows, palm to palm, shoulder width apart. Lengthen right, long from left. I'm sitting tall, sitting tall. Keep that left arm lengthened out in front. Head follows your hand if you can. See if I can sit a bit taller and then lengthen back to center. You do 2 of those, then you pray your hands. Same as the other side. So remember, keep their hand on your chest, your elbow comes back, you feel you're opening your shoulder blades there, and lengthen back to center. You drop the band, you glue your knees and ankles together. I either do prayer, sticking your fingers on your chin, hands on your thumb on your sternum. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you rotate over to the left. Not your head and neck, is rotation of your upper spine. See, you think you can't twist anymore. You take a breath in. As you breathe out, you can twist an extra millimeter. Fingers on your chin, thumb on your sternum. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, twist a bit more, sitting tall, pulling the belly button to your spine and back to center. Then you take a breath in. As you breathe out, you do exactly the same on the right. For 1, breathe in. As you breathe out. For 2, breathe in. As you breathe out. For 3, all sitting up, pulling your belly button to the spine, sticking your head to the ceiling. Now, sometimes I do that one, or sometimes I just lean forward to a point that's good for your client. I always say range of motion is personal. Let your head and neck hang, and then you lengthen top arm longer than the button, and we do seated twist. Pushing into that thigh. I have a little rest. See if I can open wider. Now your head follows your hand, or if you get tension in the neck, they can just let their head and neck hang. So I do 2 either side. You come up and then you come to the other side. Pushing into that thigh. Come to the other side and back to center. When you finish with that one, you face your ball. Pretend this is my ball. Balls in front, knees and ankles glued together. Hands come down knees, down shins, and I really relax, hang like a rag doll. Take hold of your ball, roll the ball forward, have a little rest and see if you can roll the ball forward a little bit more. Roll the ball back to your feet, roll the ball up your shins and back to that neutral spine, sitting tall, pulling the belly button to your spine, always lengthening up, shoulders down your back pockets. Now we rest the top of our body and we're going to squeeze the ball. So knees, so I'm really going to squeeze the ball, but first of all, I'm on thin ice. So I'm really thinking about taking some pressure, a little bit of pressure out the soles of my feet. So if I sit tall, trying to stick my head on the ceiling, pulling my belly button to the spine, little pressure under the soles of my feet, my core is already switched on. And I'm going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to squeeze that ball as hard as you can, but taking some pressure out the soles of your feet. So my thighs are burning, inner thighs are burning, but I can really feel I'm working my deep core muscles there. I'm sitting tall, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And after a few seconds, then pulse, 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 pulse. And I'm pulsing, pulsing, trying to burst the ball as I pulse, but thinking about the thin ice underneath the soles of my feet. And then the last squeeze, 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 last squeeze, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Then we pat it out. Really worked my thighs. We lengthen out our arms, shoulders down your back pockets, space between your ears and shoulders. So lengthen through the middle fingers, cup of tea. So lots of people circle from the hands, or I watch them circling from the arms. We're circling from the shoulder joints, but they've got to lengthen through the middle fingers and circle from the shoulder joints, but still balancing a cup of tea on their hands. The more you circle from your shoulder joints, not your arms or your hands, the more I can really feel it in my shoulders, my chest. Then they're going to take a breath in. As they breathe out, they're squeezing the ball. Really squeeze that ball. Remember, thin ice underneath the soles of your feet. So my core switched on, my thighs are burning, shoulder blades, shoulders are burning, chest burning. We release the ball, then we come in the opposite direction, lengthening through the middle fingers. Obviously, I'm speeding this up a bit. And I'm thinking about cup of tea, and I'm thinking about circling from the shoulder joint. And I'm squeezing the ball now at the same time. Circle, circle. And then I do another couple more, and then we have a little rest. Now they feel like they really need a deep stretch, so we take hold of the ball, elbows right. And sometimes I say, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Push into the ball, push into the ball, push into the ball, push into the ball. As you lengthen out your arms, knees have to be hip width apart for this because it's for balance. Lengthen the ball up to the ceiling as you sway over to the left. Don't come off your right seat bone. So I'm really working my obliques, being pulled by a piece of string. Lengthen, lengthen back to center. So you come over to the right. Don't come off your left seat bone. Really feeling I'm working my deep core muscles there. Pull the belly button to the spine and back to center. Then you lengthen the ball in front. Dip your chin to your chest, tuck the tailbone under. Feel that deep stretch across your shoulders. You really need that deep stretch there. Stand up nice, sit up nice and tall, shoulders down your back pockets. You can drop the ball. Now we're going to do dead bug. Pieces of string on your toes. Lengthen your arms in front, holding on to the piece of string that are on your toes. Neutral spine, so I'm sitting up tall, always pulling my belly button to the spine, always trying to be pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. And we lengthen and lift our right leg. We're trying not to lean back. You want to use your thighs. You want to use your deep core muscle. Keep the right arm lengthened up to the ceiling, left arm out in front and slowly back to center. Now, if some of your clients have pressure in the lumbar spine, I get them to lower their leg a bit. Just takes a little bit of pressure from the lumbar spine. Can you see my arms lengthened, legs lengthened, and back to center? Then we do one more either side, and we circle our ankle one way, maybe 6 to 8 times, and circle in the opposite direction. I watch people do that with their legs. It's your ankle sitting tall. Don't lean back. You want to use your core. Slowly back to center and the other side. So everything is slow and controlled. And really, it's like a dance routine. One movement slowly moves into the next movement. And slowly back to center. Pat it out, roll your shoulders, and we slowly come up to standing. All the blood's running to the bottom of your body. So I just give them a little bit of time out. So I then have a pencil on my tailbone, plate in between my feet, hold on to your hips. And this just lets all the blood run to the bottom of the body. And we start drawing around the pencil, around the plate with the pencil on their tailbone. The aim is not to move the top of the body too much. And you've got a pencil on your tailbone. Then we come in the opposite direction. So I do sort of 6 each side, say 5, 6 each side. All the bloods run to the bottom of their body. Then we kick the bands forward. I like to show the clients that they have warmed up, they have stretched. Regular stance, Pilates stance, they choose. Sometimes I say go for a Pilates stance because they've really stretched the muscles in the back of their legs and their glutes. Remember, hands on hips, we hinge forward. It's okay to hold on to your thighs or the seat of the chair. They get pressure in the lumbar spine. So I've got a dead straight back. Chest comes forward first. I'm looking out in front, dead straight back. I cannot hinge anymore because I can't stretch my hamstrings anymore. So I hang like a rag doll. Micro bend in the knees, push into the heels, tailbone up to the ceiling, head on my toes. Take hold of the band. You might need a nice big bend in your knees. Not as much now because you've warmed up. Heavy arms, really heavy arms. Breathe, squeeze the bottom. Pull your belly button to the spine, hang like a rag doll, and you roll up one vertebrae at a time. So I feel a lot more warmed up. So I have the bands slightly tighter now because you've built strength and we're in mountain. Some of you will come up onto your tiptoes. Whether you're on your tiptoes or soles of your feet, you might want to glue your ankles together to challenge your balance. Still pulling my belly button to the spine. Just tucking my tailbone under. Prayer, arms in line with your ears. Mountain, taking on tension of the band. Remember, don't hunch your shoulders. Prayer. And one more mountain. Soles your feet hip width apart. Also, if I've got time, I do 3 squats. You might not have time to do 3 squats. Knees are hip width apart. Now, the aim is for my knees to stay over my ankles because the more your knees are over your toes, you're going to put pressure on your knees. The more your knees are over your toes, put pressure on your knees. You want to keep your knees over your ankles. With or without the band, they don't have to use the band. I watch lots of people hold their breath. So tell them to breathe, 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 or they're going to pass out. Lengthen your arms in front. Sit into a deep chair, keeping your knees over your ankles. And I'm really sticking out my bottom. So I would rather have good form and they come down by a couple of inches rather than have bad form. So I watch some of them have bad form. Lengthen the arms in front. Sit in that deep chair, deep low chair behind you, keeping your knees hip width apart, knees over your ankles, so all the weight's in my heels and not my toes. Sometimes I get them to pull the band apart and we're holding on to the band, we're breathing, dead straight back, pull your belly button to the spine, pull the band apart, push into your heels and then squeeze your bottom. I get them to do 3 of those. So remember the rules, but first of all, remember they've got to breathe. Then we put the ball in between our knees and ankles. We try a bit of balance here. Either hold on to your hips or the side of the chair. Now, if they're holding on to the side of the chair, get them to take a bit of pressure out their fingers because you want the core to do the work. Squeeze the ball, try and burst the ball. I'm squeezing my glutes, squeezing my thighs, try and squeeze my thighs together, trying to squeeze the ball, squeeze my ankles together, holding on to my hips, focusing on a point out in front. That's not moving, helps with balance. Or maybe those who are holding on to the chair, take a little bit of pressure out their fingers. So it's my core doing the work. And I'm squeezing, 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 squeezing. Maybe we do this for half a minute, 40 seconds or so. They can rest whenever they like and come back into position. See if they can come higher on their heels. And they're squeezing, squeezing, squeezing the ball, squeezing their thighs together, squeezing their ankles together, trying to burst the ball. It's not until they rest and they drop the ball, they can really feel they've used all the muscles in their body. Then we go into crane. They hold on to the side of the chair. They hug their right knee to the chest. Really hug that knee to the chest and lengthen up their right arm. Now, either take some pressure out your left hand, or some of them might be able to lengthen up. So the more you push into your foot and try to stick your head on the ceiling, breathing, focusing on a point out in front, the easier the balance. Now I stay up here for say 30 seconds or so, and then we hold on to our hips, or the side of the chair, level 1, on the chair, level 2, holding your hips, and we very slowly go into extend and bend. Remember, pressure in the lumbar spine, they can lower their leg. So range of motion is personal. Some of them can just bend and extend with a really low foot. Some of them can try to extend their leg and get their knee up as high as possible. So just slowly, and do about, say, 40 seconds. They start to get really achy, and then we do exactly the same on the other side. So we go straight into crane, hugging your knees to your chest. More you push into the supporting foot, sticking your head on the ceiling. Nice neutral spine, pulling your belly button to the spine, breathing, focusing on a point out in front. Take some pressure out your hands, level 1 or level 2. Some of the clients might be able to lengthen their arms up to the ceiling. Do about sort of 30, 40 seconds. Hold on to the side of the chair or your hips, and you go straight into extend and bend. And back to center. If you find you've got a little bit of time left over, I put one foot in front of the other, evenly distribute the weight. Can you see I'm one straight line? Evenly distribute the weight in your feet, bending your knees. You hold on to the side of the chair and flap one wing. Back toes are touching front heel, or you flap 2 wings. You might want a little bit of help from the chair. Now that's level 1 is holding on to the side of the chair. Level 2, you flap 2 wings. Level 3, as your wings come up, you come onto your tiptoes. But you've got to maintain that dead straight line. Then we swap over. So my toes, back toes are touching my front heel. Evenly distribute the weight. Hold on to the side of the chair, flap 1 wing. Or level 2, flap 2 wings. Evenly distribute the weight. Or level 3, as your wings come up, you come onto your tiptoes. But when you come down, make sure, can you see I'm one dead straight line? If you see some of them are struggling, they can bring their feet out to a slight angle. That just helps them with their balance. But over time, they should be one straight line. So that's just if you've ran out, that's if you've got a few extra minutes to spare, do a little bit of balance. But obviously you're going to make that you've got lots of your own exercises. Then we come down and just have a little cool down for 3, 4 minutes. We lengthen out either leg, hinging forward. They can feel they're so much more warmed up now. Being pulled by a piece of string, micro bend in the knees, flex up those toes. The more you flex up the toes and the foot, the more you're going to stretch your calf muscles. I cannot hinge anymore. Then I round and curl. I have a little rest, see if I can deepen my stretch. Then heavy arms, hang like a rag doll.
Roll up breathing, pull your belly button to the spine. Use your core to roll you up. Then you do the same the other side. Chest comes forward first. You can see my logo. Look out in front, dead straight back. The more my back is straight, the more I'm going to stretch my hamstrings and my glutes. Cannot stretch them anymore, then I round and curl. I have a little rest, see if I can get the top of my head on my toes. Keep flexing that toe and foot. Heavy arms. Hang like a rag doll, pull your belly button to the spine and breathe as you roll up one vertebrae at a time and back to center. Knees are hip width apart, you need this for balance. So you lengthen left up to the ceiling. Feel like you push into your left foot, don't come off your left seat bone. Have a little rest, see if I can come deeper. Can you see I've come an extra few millimeters deeper, stretching my waist, but really working my waist, pull the belly button to the spine, touch the ceiling as you lengthen back to center. The other side. So we're just sort of cooling down now. Push into the right foot, push into the right seat bone. Always being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of head. Pull your belly button to the spine and lengthen back to center. Glue your knees and ankles together. Left hand on the outside of your left thigh. Lengthen, right thigh, right arm. Left arm on the outside of your right thigh is mirror image for me. Lengthen right arm behind as you look